right, beautiful people. Today we are doing what I like to call chairial. So it's so great to take what is traditional chair dancing into a whole nother realm. What I also love is we work together at Fire and Flight. And of course, when you're traveling as an artist, you can't always rig your stuff. So if you are an aerialist, you're very limited as to where you can perform. So not only does this take your chair work in burlesque and then take it a little bit further, but also if you are an aerialist, it gives you a lot more freedom to be able to perform wherever it is that you are. And I will pass it on to you to tell us more fabulous things about who you are and what we're going to do today.
Hi, so my name is Raz. I am a professional performer. My main performance tool is actually, I'm an electric violinist, and through electric violin in a very circuitous route, I've come into teaching pole professionally as well. I'm also a pole dancer, and I own a studio in Monterey, California. And that got me into other modes of doing acrobatics and other modes of doing aerial, and chairial is definitely one of them. I love vixens being open and vulnerable, so me being open and vulnerable is also saying that chairial was my way of creating a burlesque act without having to do any of the burlesque stuff at first and getting really used to that, blending those worlds. This is the one that lives at my house. It has good things about it and bad things about it. Good thing about it, it folds and it can go away nicely. It's made of a pretty dense metal, so it feels really secure for me. And one of the things that you want in a good acro chair, you need a gap between the back of the chair and the upper portion of the chair, because you're going to need to feed some things through. So if the chair has a line kind of through the middle, not really a good chair for acro, because you need to be able to push weight kind of past this line. You can see if this line comes out, but concurrently, so do these feet. So there's a line of balance that's happening here where the back of the chair and the back of the feet are in line with each other, so that when you're putting your weight up here, you're not at risk of tipping over. Contact points in a chair. This is something that I use a lot when I'm making a choreography and when I'm trying to think about being exploratory, because just because I teach you a shape doesn't mean there are not a bunch of variations of that shape or ways that you can play around and be super, super unique, as long as you keep in mind what a good balance point on the chair is. So we've got you can think about it as 4 or 6 contact points on this chair. The base frame is the main one that we consider. This is where our bum goes. If you are doing other things on it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I consider these backs 5 and 6. You want to be on a diagonal cross point most of the time. So either you're on these 2 edges, A and B, these 2 edges, these edges up here, up here. There's a strategy to even sitting in the chair for the first time that will tell people a lot about your character. If I come in like this, or if I come in like this, what's that saying? Like, what am I using this chair for? How is it informing my movement before we even start doing tricks? That's my note. That's like more of a Vixen thing, who I think can speak to like that side of the creative aspect of designing a chairial choreography. But on to the tricks. So we're actually going to wrap around to the side of the chair. So from here, I've still got my weight, my grip point here. I'm going to move this hand from this side to the other side of the chair, as this leg, so the leg closest to the back, is going to just come up, bent, over, and I'm going to start, hands come to the back, and I start leaning like this. And start to push the hips forward, and then you can do all sorts of balances. This is exploratory space that's really easy to kind of play with, because I find it most comfortable, for me at least, when this part of my back is on the edge of the chair. So when my hands come off, it lets me slide a little bit more forwards, and that puts the chair at a more comfy zone of my back. So, yeah, to come out, I would just drop my feet back, find the chair back with my knee pits. And then here's the tricky part, is I want to push up, keeping my head back like this, so that my head comes up last. Once you're here, hands come to the front. Again, I'm going to kind of reprise that and then push forwards. into the chair. And that's a good way to get out of it. So I've got my knee tuck position. I'm nice and tight into the chair, and I'm going to start to lay back. As it gets more comfortable to do this, you can do it a little faster, but this is going to be a scoochy butt move. So I'm going to start to scooch back, and now I really want to squeeze my knees into my chest and start to like walk my bum. I'm pulling really hard with my arms to get my shoulders onto the chair, and my butt is up here. So that little walk up takes a little bit of practice to do smoothly. So for right now, we're just going to bum walk it one bit at a time. So now I'm still really nice and tucked here. If that feels good and balanced, you're still gripping either side. And I'm going to send one leg up into the air. And I'm just going to start to play with this balance point. So I can rock that foot back. I'm opening my back here, so I've got a little arch there, and I'm resting the eyes, the back of my hip onto the almost said the pole, Jesus, habits, onto the back of the chair. And then I lever this leg forward. So this is where we're finding balance points and playing with what feels safe. If that feels safe, I can open out. I can stag my legs. I can start to play this way. So you can even do some nice, beautiful leg waves. So this is the point where if we rock too far over, you might feel like you're going to fall forwards. I'm going to tell you right now, as long as your back is on the front of the chair. So that's what tends to happen is we tend to lift up like this. And when I really want to arch, so I'm pushing my shoulders into the front of the chair so that when this weight comes onto the back of the chair, it actually counterbalances it. To come out in a more dynamic way, I'm going to shoulder roll. So I'm going to come into a straddle, and I really want to tip to one side. That's what makes a good shoulder roll. So whatever side you're picking, you're going to tip your hip over, and I'm going to send my foot to the floor, and then it's going to make contact with the floor, and I leave pressure on this shoulder as I come out. So I'm going to set my hands forwards, set my hips forwards to start to find the top of my thighs, and then I'm going to walk my feet out to lower my hips onto the, oh, I almost said pole again. Oh my God. Teaching habits, onto the back of the chair. And this is where we're going to use that kick up exercise that we did, because I want to keep my body upright. I'm going to kick and squeeze. From here, you can do these little beautiful kicks. Yay, yay. And then I can also start to take my chest down. When I take my chest down, I'm going to bend my elbows. I'm still gripping the front of the chair, and I'm levering down, and my legs are coming up. And then I can push down, open back, kick up, lever down. Then I'm going to tuck my hips in to drop my legs, and that's going to help me come up, push up, lever down, bend the legs to roll up. And that's what makes that really beautifully sensuous shapes. So for right now, in the middle. And this time I'm going to open my hip to the side. I'm going to keep this hand on the front. Again, push up with the lead leg first to help take your weight. This hand's pushing down to keep my chest lifted. And I've got a lot of weight in this front part of my hand. So I really want my weight to be pretty forwards here. So I'm using that push to help me keep my chest up so that when I'm here, I'm really nicely balanced and my weight is forwards. Nice. And then you can take this leg back. When I bring it up, I'm really crunching inwards. And then once you're here, extension. So we're going to do one more little play point here on the front. And it's one little step at a time. So we come into this chest balance. Again, I'm forwards right at the top of my thighs. So when I lever out, it works. I'm going to bend my elbows, and I'm going to bring the chair edge to my chest. Here. From here, I'm going to let my body rest. I'm going to take my arms and I'm going to grip behind. So now I've got this nice grip. I can actually pull here, and then I can lever up. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze with butt. Head still kind of lifted. That's going to preserve my balance. And then that's your chest press. If you want to add on, I'm going to drop here, walk, 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 walk until now I'm kind of on the front of my shoulders and the top of my knees. I'm still pulling, I'm still lifting, 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 lifting. Chest balance. Because, I mean, and this is something that's very true about any movement practice, is that we all have injuries that limit us, or recovering from something, or that's just not where we are yet. And I don't want anybody to think like, oh, I can't do acro chair because I don't have X, Y, or Z. It's like, you're just going to do it differently, and you're going to have moves that really work with your body that somebody else isn't going to do. So that's going to make you really unique. And I think like embracing that we have limitations and that we don't all like the same moves. And that's a beautiful thing about anything, is like, I'm always love to figure out when people are having issues. And if that is something, or if like you want advice on choreo or adaptive stuff, like please let me know. And like send me stuff you're working on, because I get super inspired by seeing people's creative ways of choreographing. And then I'm always happy to be like, oh, well, you're trying to shift your weight here. So like, what if you did this? And I think it's just how we all
joining us, and thank you for giving us your skills. If people are excited about having a second class, or if Raz wants to come into a second class, we'd love to talk about that. So make sure to comment in the Facebook group. And as always, whatever it is that you want in the membership, I want to find it and provide it for you. So anything else you want teaching wise would be fab. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Raz.
Yay, thank you.